Good afternoon. Welcome to the press center of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. Here is our weekly update of the situation in the operations area of the joint forces from 25th to 31st March 2019. During the last week, the Russian occupation forces has dramatically increased the number of violations to further destabilize situation in the operations area of the JFO before the presidential elections. The enemy used weapons which is prohibited by the Minsk agreements. Besides 82 and 120 mm mortars, the Russian occupation forces shelled the area of joint forces with 152 and 122 artillery systems. Small arms, grenade launchers, heavy machine guns, and other infantry weapons were used as well. Over the past week, from 25th to 31st March 2019, Ukrainian defenders' position fell under provocative fire by Russian occupation forces for 76 times. Thus, on March 25th, the Russian occupation forces shelled JFO position near Krymsky, firing 122 mm artillery and 82 mm mortars. What is more, on March 26th, the enemy fired 47, 82 and 120 mm mines. On March 27th, 117 shells from 122 mm artillery and 120 and 82 mm mortars were fired against JFO positions. One more time, on March 28th, the Russian occupation forces continued to use 82 and 120 mm mortars. On March 29th, Russian occupation forces fired 9 152 mm artillery and also used 82 and 100 mm mortars to shell positions of the JFO. On March 30th, Russian occupation forces has fired 15 82 and 120 mm mines. What is more, Russian occupation forces continue to deliberately shell frontline localities. On 29th and 30th March, 4 such cases were recorded, 2 of them with the use of artillery and mortars, which are prohibited by the Minsk agreements. On one of such cases, the enemy has significantly damaged civilian infrastructure in Zolote 1 village using 152 mm artillery. The situation in the operations area is under full control of the joint forces. Our servicemen opened fire in response to the press enemy activity and by strictly adhering to Minsk agreements. As the result of the Russian armed aggression, 9 of our servicemen were wounded in action. We want to inform with grief that during last week, 1 serviceman was killed in action. We express our sincerest condolences to family and loved one of our deceased defender. And now to the information from the Defense Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. Russian Occupation Administration has intensified activity of law enforcement and security agencies, as well as the units of 1st and 2nd Army Corps of the Armed Forces of Russian Federation, to conduct provocations before presidential elections which took place on March 31st. Besides increasing the number of shelling using weapons which is forbidden by the Minsk agreements, the enemy has intensified exercises of artillery units and has called off from vacations a number of servicemen. And now to other news. On March 27th, the Japanese side, with the assistance of the UN, has handed over modern medical equipment for our military doctors who save lives of military personnel in the area of the Joint Operation Forces. Minister of Defense of Ukraine Stepan Poltorak expressed words of gratitude to the government and the people of Japan for providing important and relevant assistance. In total, since the beginning of Russian aggression against our country, the Japanese side has handed over medical equipment for approximately $1.5 million to the armed forces of Ukraine. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Japan to Ukraine, Takashi Kurai, extended his deep condolences to the families of the deceased Ukrainian heroes and expressed the words of respect for all Ukrainians who are fighting for independence, territorial integrity of Ukraine, and the medical personnel who save lives of Ukrainian soldiers and civilians. First round of presidential elections was held in Ukraine according to Ukrainian law and the democratic principles. All servicemen and women of the armed forces of Ukraine had the possibility to cast their vote. For those servicemen who are in the operations area of the JFO, special polling stations were established. Moreover, foreign polling stations were established for peacekeeping contingents in the DRC and Ukrainian service members in Kosovo. Multinational training exercises Platinum Age 2019 came to over. Servicemen of the separate Marine Battalion of the Ukrainian Navy took part in these exercises. For 10 days, Marines were sharing their combat experience with US, Georgia, Romania, Bulgaria, and Moldovan colleagues, taking over the exercise of tactical actions within the multinational unit, as always demonstrating the quality of work. This is the first part of such exercises. Different scenarios of Platinum Age 2019 will take place during 2019. This is all information for now. Thank you for your attention. Captain Sharavara Mikhailov from the Press Center of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine.